All right, so sorry we did not get to this last work of art from the New Kingdom of Ancient Egypt in class, but here you go. This is the stuff that I want you to make sure that you remember as you do your review for the test on Tuesday. All right, so here we have the last judgment of Hu-Nefer from his tomb. So indeed, this is a painted papyrus scroll that would have been in the tomb, placed in the tomb with Hu-Nefer. Now, who is Hu-Nefer? Hu-Nefer was a scribe and a steward, so I mean like a high-level servant or functionary of the king or the pharaoh Seti. So this is why he's going to have some nice stuff in his tomb. So this image is taken from a larger scroll, which would be a Book of the Dead. Now, oops, sorry, we'll talk about that next week. When we talk about the Books of the Dead, this is something new in Egyptian cosmology, ancient Egyptian cosmology. By that I mean ancient Egyptian religion. That while we continue to see this, I don't want to call it an obsession, but a great interest in the afterlife. Now there's this idea that it's not only that can your spirit live on in the afterlife if it is appropriately taken care of, given a place to live in, either a statue or a mummy or something like that, and buried properly. They also suggest that in order to live on in the afterlife, you need to have lived a life without wrongdoing, a life without sin. So you need to be judged before you can get into the afterlife. So that's why we're going to call this the last judgment of Hu-Nefer from a Book of the Dead. So let's take a look at what we actually see here. As I said, this is paint on papyrus. And let's see what we actually are seeing here in this image. Let's go through. So you're meant to read it like a serial narrative. So by that I mean like we're going to keep on seeing Hu-Nefer again and again in different scenes. So we see him here, we see him here, and then we're going to see him again up here. And we're meant to kind of read this almost like a comic, going this way across the bottom register, and then this way across the top register. So let's start with him down here. Here he is being led by the hand by Anubis. And that's the other thing. If we notice this kind of even though the idea of this idea that you should be without sin or without wrongdoing to get into the afterlife may be new in the New Kingdom, the pictorial and aesthetic conventions are all very familiar, right? We have that same pose, the composite pose of the head and the feet in profile and the torso. We're looking on it front on. And we also see all of our old friends in terms of gods from antiquity. So here we have Hu-Nefer being led by Anubis. Anubis, who is the god of embalming and cemetery, leading him to the scales where he will be judged. All right. So you see up here, this is the goddess Ma'at, who's the goddess of truth. So she's up here on the scales, and here Anubis is putting Hu-Nefer's heart and weighing it against the feather of an ostrich. Okay. So and over here we've got Amit, who's the scary crocodile-headed hyena thing god that's really excited because if Hu-Nefer doesn't pass, he gets to eat his body. But no, Hu-Nefer does pass. And here we go, and we see him being led by Horus over here to be, excuse me, sorry, hang on one second. Sorry, I just had to look something up. This is Thoth, the ibis-headed god who's recording that Hu-Nefer did pass the test. So here is Horus. Remember, Horus is the miracle baby of the god of kings, who is the son of Osiris and Isis. So Horus is leading Hu-Nefer up to Osiris. Here's Osiris holding the characteristic crook and flail that we see with the pharaohs. And Osiris is sitting here on a bed of natron. And natron was the salt that the Egyptians used to actually mummify a corpse. So he's sitting here. So Osiris, god of the underworld. And next to Osiris is the goddess Isis and the goddess Nephthys back here. And yeah, he's passed his test. Hu-Nefer has passed his test. And here are Horus's 4 sons standing on a lotus flower, and they're holding all of Hu-Nefer's various embalmed organs in little pots. All right, so good for Hu-Nefer. He passed. All right, now he's going to be up here, and up here in the upper register of the scroll, he's kneeling to the 14 gods of the underworld. All right, so that's what's happening here. That's pretty much, I mean, you don't need to know this necessarily in that much detail, but if you're going to do a visual analysis of what's happening, just know that you've got this serial narrative here that's unfolding, because we're going to see this kind of thing again. In Buddhist art, for example, we'll see these relief sculptures where we'll keep on seeing Buddha in different scenes of his life. So here we have, again, something you can see where somebody progressing, almost like, as I said, almost like a comic book, and how to read it. All right. Good luck studying for the test, and I will see you next week. Have a great weekend.